Okay, you're going to take your first ball of clay and smack it as even as you can. Take your ball of clay, line it up with the center ring here. And you're going to just pick up your hand, make sure your wheel head's dry, and you're going to smack it as close to the center as you can. You're going to get your pottery wheel going at a fast speed, so it's going to go pretty rapid. The first thing you want to do is make sure you can get this ball of clay to stick onto the wheel head. So you're going to dunk both hands in your water, align your thumbs together, and you're going to push down to the wheel head and squeeze in with your hands just to smooth this out and get it stuck on there. Take your elbows, squeeze them into your torso. Don't let your upper body move, and just push all your weight forward. Think of going forward in a rocking chair and pushing all your pressure down. The next step is to cone up. Dunk your hands again in water. To cone up, you're going to bring your hands past the clay mound. Kind of think about aligning them right in the center. Take your left elbow, lock it into your hip. Take your right hand and put it right across, and you're going to squeeze the clay together and slide your hands up all the way past the form. That's coning up. To cone down, you're going to bring your left hand, it's going to go on top of the mound, so way up here at the top, and your right hand is going to align with this thumb. It comes right in here. Your fingertips point up towards the ceiling. And again, think about being on a rocking chair. Lock your elbows into your body and rock down and forward. You should feel the clay immediately start to fall. You stay there to about 3/4 of the way down. Now you have to get all this clay down to the wheel head. So you want to think about using this back side of your right wrist. So what I do is open up my hand, and I'm going to push with this fleshy part of my hand all the way down, and my wrist is going to come down to the wheel head. So I'm here, and I slide my hand down. Notice my fingers are grabbing the left hand, so that way it can be as steady and secure as possible. But we'll do that a couple more times. Coning up, tuck in, push and slide both hands up all the way past the mound. Coning down, come way up over the mound. The other right hand aligns with the thumb, and you push down 3/4 of the way. Stop, dunk one hand in water, open up your hand, grab your left, and push all the way down with your wrist. I'm just smoothing out the form now. How do you know if it's centered? Put a little picture frame around it. You don't want to see any hula dancing happening down here. You can see it's bouncing a tiny little bit. So instead of coning all the way up and all the way down, I'm just going to come in and push forward a little with my left hand and push down slightly with my right. Awesome. Okay, now we're going to sink the well. The next step, sinking the well, you can either use one hand with your thumb here or two thumbs together, and you're going to push down to the wheel head. You still want to leave about 1/4 inch down at the base, so you don't want to go all the way through, otherwise you'll end up with a planter. So you start here, take a deep breath in, and when you exhale, you're going to make sure your whole upper body stays steady, and it's just your thumbs as you exhale that travel on down. You should be able to see the nails of your thumb and see where the clay is going. At this point, you can stop. Use your needle tool. Needle tool, you push down all the way, and you slide your hand. Finger goes where the tool meets, and then you bring the tool out. This is too thick. We only need 1/4 inch, so I'm going to realign my thumbs and push down the form a little further. So I come here, I align right where I was before, and I push down a little bit further. Just to be on the safe side, I stop the wheel, grab the needle tool, check again, slide my finger, bring it out, I'm good to go. Now I need to make the base. In order to make a tall cylinder, I need a flat bottom. So I'm going to get my wheel going at a fast speed, and I'm going to just relax my right thumb, use the side of the thumb, and I'm just slowly bringing the wall open. I'm trying not to disturb anything here, just focusing down at the bottom. You should think of the width of a soup can, or as a very easy reference, the width of your sponge right here. So it should be about the same. now I'm going to compress the bottom. Compressing you can do with your thumb or with your finger. Like the needle of a record player, you start in the center. If you're right-handed, you swing on over to the right. If you're left-handed, you'll be on the left-hand side. Or you can use your sponge, and you can wad up your sponge and just push down in the center and then push down to the side. Last thing is just to make a little indentation here. That's going to help your finger know where to go when you start to bring up the wall. To start actually making the cylinder, I'm going to first give my piece a little hug. Think of the shape of a volcano so that this area is wider and it gets more narrow. And now you're ready to start bringing up the wall. I use a sponge to bring up the wall. Take your left hand, make a little peace sign. Those fingers are going to split the wall and relax here. Try to get your hand to relax and make sure you can see all the knuckles on your left hand side. With your right hand, you're going to hold on to the sponge and use one finger to push through the sponge to the piece. So you'll actually bring the sponge here. Think about 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock is a great time. You want to keep your finger at 5 o'clock. This hand split with the peace sign, and these are kind of your antenna, and they're going to touch your right hand, and that way you can come up the wall together nice and relaxed and in a straight line. Your wheel's going to go a little slower than it has been for centering. So you're here. You push in till you see this indentation. So you want to make sure you see that indentation every time. And then every time the wheel goes around one time, you can bring your hands up the wall. So every time it goes around once, I'm sliding both fingers together all the way past the lip, nice and soft like a butterfly, and then you compress the lip. Rest 2 fingers here and 1 on top. And then you go again. Make sure that your sponge is clean and that your hands are wet, not too much water. Come down here, wait till you see the indentation, and then both fingers slide up the wall. Make sure you're breathing, and make sure that you've released a little bit of the pressure. The initial pinching happens at the base. Rest, rest, compressing the lip. I'm starting to get a little tapering out here, so before I do the next pull, I can either use a tool and get rid of it, or I can just use a finger through the sponge and just push the clay back onto the mound. That way I'm using maximum amount of clay to make my tall cylinder. Dunk your hands again. Down here at the bottom, push with that finger. Should be able to see that ring go all the way up the wall. If you start to see a spiral, chances are your hands are going way too fast. So you should just look like you're carrying that little ring all the way to the top. Relax your fingers as you come past the lip, and then compress. You can feel the sides of the wall to understand how thick they are. So you're feeling the space in between 2 of your fingertips, so you can kind of slide them down and you'll feel them separate from one another. That's going to help you figure out how much clay you have left to throw. We're going to do one more pull. I'm going to clean up this clay again here, just pushing it back in on the form. I'm going to remove any extra water that's out here and flatten anything if I accidentally push down on the floor of the piece. I just want to make sure that it stays nice and even in the inside. And now I'm going to go again. Now, if you can't get your peace sign and reach your hand, then your whole hand goes inside and just your thumb stays out. So that's going to help you guide yourself in a straight line. Push all the way down at the bottom and carry the clay up to the top. When it starts to get thin, the piece is going to get a little jumpy on you. So just beware, and just always maintain the pressure and back off if you feel like it's about to fly out of control, just as the clay letting you know you're squeezing too hard. All the way up to the top and then compressing. This is not a straight form, and what I want is a straight form, so I'm going to do a couple of things. One is I'm going to use the potter's knife. I'm going to use this straight edge and this point of the potter's knife, hold it like a pencil, and use my left hand at the very top. And I'm going to come in and just trim a little bit of this extra clay off of my piece. And then you can use your needle tool. The needle tool is great. You can drag it underneath the ring, stop your wheel, slice through, and that way you can easily remove all of that extra clay. And the last thing we're going to use is the wooden rib, which I flew onto the floor. So I'm going to grab that real quick. This has a great straight edge, and we're going to use that to keep this from kind of having a different style silhouette. We want a nice straight line. So we're going to use the wooden rib on a slight angle forward, and then you're going to take your left hand and just push it right against the wooden rib. And you're just applying a little bit of pressure. The thumb is balancing on the right hand, so everything is nice and steady. Now my left fingers are slowly sliding up the wall, still just pushing and using the straight edge as my guide. So that way the wall now is very clean and straight. I'm gonna come back in one more time and compress the lip. And then the last thing I'm gonna do is make sure that there is no water left in here. I'm gonna remake that little ledge that we started with down at the bottom. I'll push that in a little bit. And then you're going to take your clay wire cutter and you're going to slide the wire underneath your piece, clean off the clay, and then you're going to slide your wire straight down. You're going to go back and forth to make sure that the wire gets all the way to the bottom. And then you're going to be left with your 2 cylinders. Once you feel like you've got 2 cylinders that are 5 inches, then you're going to label them. Those are my initials with the letter 1, and these are my initials with the letter 2, and I'll go on to make one more.